also in the midst of making this during the George Floyd protests that were happening. How much did this movement impact on you and your directing of the film?
Well, we were still in the writing phase of the film during that, I believe, right? Because we weren't shooting.
We were done writing. At
Okay.
that point, we were sending it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we were sending it out. So I mean, like, you know, I mean, it affected me personally greatly. But I don't think it changed what we were planning on doing with the film. It didn't influence the film in that way. We just, you know, this is something that has been, you know, systematically happening, you know, for, you know, people of color over time. So it wasn't like there was this new infusion of like, let's focus anything special. So we, you know, and also for me, like this film was largely about a friendship between these guys and that love story. So, you know, that was my North Star. But so I don't, you know, me personally, I felt it very greatly during that time, but it did not influence the film.
It's interesting because we've gotten that question, especially since we were on the blacklist that year. In like the script was on the blacklist, and people started asking us like, how did the protests influence this movie? Like, did you come up with it because of the protests? And yeah, we had to basically say, we wrote this movie is based on a short film that we wrote, or that I wrote and he directed, and we made that movie back in 2017 because this is an issue that faces obviously the Black community, and also I'm Latina and I'm from Los Angeles, and like my community is faced with this too, and it's like this has been an issue forever for people of color, and it's like the protests brought that to light on a national scale. So it's like people are finally paying attention, and it's good people are finally paying attention. It's like unfortunate that it takes people dying to make people pay attention, but like this has been an issue that's been close to us for forever. So
yeah. I mean, on the other side of that, the film also comes across as a comedy. Katie, for you, I was wondering in particular, how much of your experience at like college and that was put into the film as well, you know, to get that lighter side of the party atmosphere.
Yeah, it's definitely inspired by a lot of elements of my college experience. The film itself, the premise of the movie is based loosely on stuff that's happened to friends of mine, where, you know, you have a random like unconscious person pass out in your house. Like, what are you gonna do? But yeah, the parties are all like the legendary tour is inspired by a real tradition that was from my school called the Prospect 10. And, you know, it's like it's all based on real stuff. I think that like, so I was also the person in my friend group who always had to kind of babysit my friends when they would get really, really drunk. And I feel like there's always somebody like that in the friend group that's kind of like this designated driver, but like not like the designated cat herder, I guess. And I was that person. So I think that a lot of that kind of made it into the movie too. Person who has to take care of everything. So yeah.
Yeah. And you work so amazingly together. What I would love to know is about that first meeting where you both decided, you know, to do the short and fuse all those ideas together, where you talk about, you know, like diversity, which comes across in the film so well. So you talk about so many stereotypes, breaking down, you know, social norms. How did you decide to put that all into a short film in the first place?
I mean, we met for the first time in 2017 in a program we did called Project Involve, which is part of Film Independent. And, you know, KD already had this script written, you know, it was a short film. And I read it and I was like, shit, this is really well written. It's great. But I was also like, oh my God, it's scaring me because like it's a humorous take on a very serious topic. But I quickly realized that was what made it special, you know, that it was looking at this through a different lens. And if you focus on the friendship of these two guys who are like really like having this absurd debate of like what to do about, you know, how to handle this situation, it's hilarious. So it wasn't making light of anything. the humor was being drawn from how they see the, how to, handle the situation.
Yeah.
So KD had really like taken things from, like she said, from her life and like infused into that short.
Yeah. And I think that, I thought it was important. And I mean, Carey directing it was like, he brought this really cool visual language just to the short film that I think is kind of replicated in the feature, of really grounding it. Cause like, there's a danger when you're working with a tone like this and you're talking about a subject like this, that you don't want the comedy to like make light of the situation. Like you have to keep that grounded in the characters and keep it grounded in the reality and the horror of the situation. So it's kind of like it operates on both levels of being a dark comedy and also a kind of satirizing the absurdity of our societal issues around this, around the fraught relationship between police and people of color, and that sort of specter hanging over people, and just highlighting that absurdity without it focusing on like a specific incident of like confrontation. So yeah, we wanted to fit a lot of things in one thing.
We like to say this is on the surface is a comedy, but these guys are really in a horror movie. It's
both at the same time.
Well, congratulations on the film. I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait for audiences to see it. Thank you so much for your time for chatting today.
Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.
All right.